No mai haere mai e te whānau. Welcome to the Flood of the Next podcast. My name's Holly. I'm on Gadigal land in Sydney. We have in Te Whanganui Atara, Wellington, Alex, and in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, we have Erin. Having a quick chat about the women's game that was on yesterday. This was a 6-pointer. We really needed to win this, but we lost 2-0. With goals for Rasmussen, penalty. We can talk about the penalty decision, and then Izzy Gomez just sort of sealing it at the 52nd minute. So I'm quite frustrated. We were very dominant at the beginning, but again, that same thing is not even converting those into shots at this point. I think we've paid for it, and I think we'd be extraordinarily lucky to make finals at this point.
Yeah, I think we've kind of just run out of puff, especially in that second half. In the first half, we were dominating if you look at the possession, but if you look at, shots and actually meaningful opportunities or trying to get into meaningful opportunities, there was pretty much nothing. In terms of that, it was probably even. So we couldn't make it pay. All of our dominance in the midfield and the back line. The front line was just a bit static. And then the second half, I think our heads dropped a wee bit and there just wasn't as much running. I think there was a lot of walking around the pitch, not enough urgency, enough spirit. I think, which is disappointing for a 6-pointer. You'd hope that, they'd have some spirit, try and get the girls up. They were all very disappointed after the game, but I don't know why they didn't show that in the game. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, I just have to say, I'm pretty sure Flea showed a lot of spirit at the end. I think she was probably the only one on the pitch near the end who looked like she was actually still trying to get something, and still had, a feeling that something could come from it. She didn't stop running that whole game, and I think that's just kind of a testament to who she is, the leader and everything. But it's just a shame that, we didn't quite get anything from this game. And I think that the penalty decision was a terrible call. I think that was incredibly soft if there was any contact there at all, but it generally looked like she was falling over already, off balance. And then, I think it was Lara Wall behind her, or Liv Kelly, or whoever was around her, kind of looked like that would have been looked like from the background that she was pushing her, but she kind of already looked off balance. The ball was already out from under her feet, and then she fell, and the penalty was called. And you couldn't even really tell that she'd caught a penalty because she was just kind of standing around doing nothing. And I think that changed the game quite a bit. We probably could have scored before then quite easily. We had some opportunities that we should have put in the back of the net, but, getting a penalty right before halftime was a bit of a killer, and I just don't think we came back from that, and then conceded our second one on a set piece, on a corner, which has become quite a trend for us. Our set piece defending hasn't been great all season, and we've conceded quite a few games and lost quite a few games from that. And I would say we should work on that, but we've got 3 games left of the season, and statistically, I think the math is math in that we can still get in, but we'd need pretty much wins from here on out and some other results to go our way and a bit of luck. So, I'm not, maybe next week will be the decider, see what's happening, but I still think that we can make it. But it's almost a little too late now.
Yeah, I agree with you on the penalty there. From the fever, it was kind of like a jungle of bodies, and you couldn't really tell from the fever, but looking back on video, I think that's very, very soft. If that happens anywhere else on the pitch, then I don't think, I think nothing happens of it, and he gets called nothing. It was kind of both defender and attacker were putting bodies on each other, and the attacker's the one that died, so the attacker's the one that gets the call.
Yeah, deeply frustrating, and it's interesting that you have the interpretation of players walking, not running. I mean, it's hard to see that when it's when you're not in the ground and you're really relying on the broadcast angles and the shot selection for there and what we see. We definitely ramped it up right at the end, but at that point it was just too late. Like it sort of hit stoppage time and we were frantically going after it. But it's too late at that point. And I don't know, I don't get it. It's really frustrating. And it's that same thing of just not having enough dominance, so making enough of periods of dominance. Like it didn't even convert to shots, let alone missing shots. We only had 16 shots, 4 on target, and Mariners with 13 shots, 4 on target, and they scored from 2 of their 4. But like we had passes in final third, 79-47. We were absolutely dominant in passes in final third. It just doesn't translate to actually any attacking. And I think if we still had Mariana Speckmaier, I think we'd be top 4. I think we could be top 4 easily. But we lose her and we don't replace her with somebody who's got the same ability, and we've paid for that. I think it sucks that we didn't have the main train available, because she is somebody who does get in and score goals. So it might have been good if we could throw her on. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
Yeah, I think this is incredibly frustrating just because I don't think we played badly or anything. Like, I think the defense were pretty solid. They didn't really do anything that would say, oh, yeah, like they should score against us. Or, I think our attack, I mean, we had 7 offsides. That's crazy. Like, that's that's just not learning from your mistakes and holding your line and trying to make something of it. But that could have been 7 more opportunities for us to get something into it. But it just seemed like we just weren't reading the game very well. And I think that kind of also didn't help that I think the ref was a bit inconsistent with her cards. There were some points of the game where I'm just like, this is definitely a yellow. In any other game, this would be a yellow card, and she didn't do anything about it. And then I think Maya gets a yellow card for accidentally elbowing someone as she's trying to hold herself up and win the ball, and then she gets a yellow for that and gives away a free kick with the ball at her feet. And yeah, it's just, I think, Annabelle Martin should have had a yellow card early in the game from taking out the back of someone's legs with the slide tackle. That could have changed the game as well. Once you're on an early yellow, you're not coming into tackles as hard. You're backing off, and so there's just a lot to it. I'm not going to blame that, saying we lost because she didn't get a yellow card in this first half or whatever. But we just kind of struggled to get into the game. But we didn't, play particularly poorly, I guess. Our attacking line didn't really make the chances they should have, but it's not like you can come away from that game saying we were absolutely, outclassed and outplayed. We just didn't really step into the game.
Yeah, another interesting thing is that Manai Elliott played at right back and McMeekin played at left wing, which is weird. And I actually didn't mind how they looked in those positions. And, if you think about it, I think their skill sets, could lead to them being good players in those positions. But do you really want to do that in our 4th final game, 6-pointer? We need to win this to get into the top 6, and you're playing a right back at left wing and a left winger at right back? I didn't really understand that. I think a bit more consistency in the position and the positioning of the team could have helped us too.
I think it doesn't help that Jaber got that red card last week and it completely switched up what was happening. And then with Emma Main's injury, suddenly our bench is looking very, very green. I think we had Tanaka on there, but I feel like he probably could have even put on Amelia Abbott. She's been signed for bloody months, and she's a left back. Put her on or something. But I didn't actually. I thought Zoe McMeekin did pretty well in the start of the game. She was playing, up front on the left, and then suddenly you look up and she's on the right, and then you look back and she's on the left again. She puts in the effort to do it, but yeah, when I guess maybe Temps just didn't have the people to play how he wanted to, and that's what we ended up with.
In the post-match interview, he talked about it being a gamble to have a bit more aggression up front. But then I don't understand why it's Mania you move, because she's got plenty of aggression as well. Aggression might not have been what he said. It was a calculated gamble to do that. But yeah, that didn't quite make sense to me. I think Elliot played quite well there, and Zoe played quite well where she was as well. But I don't know, maybe you get actually some more chances, some dominance converted to more chances if you have Mania up front. So I'm not sure I agree with it, but you're right that we didn't have the most experience on the bench, so particularly no Emma Main. But yeah, so it meant that, you had these really, this is a really important game, and you're bringing on really inexperienced players like Liv Ingham and Alajeras, and no disrespect to them, but they've not played a lot, and they were probably not the players that you'd like to have on. And yeah, we did pay for Jaber just getting that getting that red card, because we could have had a bit more, I think, stability in the back line, and then maybe we wouldn't have to have played Mania in the back. I don't know. It was a gamble that didn't pay off.
What did you guys think of Vilau's gesture?
That was I mean, when I tweeted from the Little Corner of Yellow account, I said that was the best moment of the game. Unfortunately, the image makes it look like she's potentially giving the finger to the referee, which was not the case. She was giving it to Brooke Nunn, who fucking deserved the yellow card and the finger as far as I'm concerned. But she has since posted on Insta apologising for giving the finger, and also clarifying that it wasn't for the ref, it was for the Mariners player. But maybe she's going to be punished for that. I don't know.
I thought it was funny. Nunn was up, just off. She already had the ball in her hand, and Nunn just drops a shoulder onto her. I feel like the finger is the least she deserves. She could have gotten so much more for that, but yeah, I think seeing people post about it who didn't even watch the game, seeing it out of context and just saying, this is poor, this is not a good role model, blah 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 blah. And it's also just like I feel like they baby the women's game a lot. Like this is a competitive sport. It's a professional sport. They're gonna clash heads and everything, and things are gonna be said. And I feel like the standard that they hold the women to is a lot different to the men. And in the men's game, that's probably just something, someone pulls a finger in the men's game, it's just the men's game. But apparently in the women's game, it's a big deal, and they have to go to some refereeing course or something to show what it's like to be a ref, and then go to some kind of disciplinary. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. I'm just like, she pulled the fingers at someone. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. The person deserved it. Pictures taken out of context, whatever. Move on.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I mean, you see that stuff, at lower levels all the time, and people think nothing of it. It's not the worst thing that's happened at Porirua Park by a long shot. I just hope she doesn't get in trouble too, but she shouldn't. They got bigger fish to fry.
I do wonder whether, because it's become a thing, that maybe it will be noticed, and then the match review panel, whatever it is, might decide that something has to be done about it, because it kind of spread quite far and wide, and maybe in that point brings more attention and disrepute to the game. I don't know. I hope not.
I think she probably almost shouldn't have apologized about it. She could have maybe got away with just saying, "Oh, she was just, I don't know, pointing or holding something." But because the fact she said it's a gesture, now it's kind of like, oh, she did pull the fingers at someone. She should have just, I don't know. I mean, I guess the apology makes sense, but also I'd just be like, oh no, I was just stretching or something.
I don't think anyone's going to believe that though. Like, that's just you've taking the piss.
You've just basically said now that you have done, dissent by gesture against a player, which is illegal in the rules of the game. If you'd said nothing, then you could just, I didn't do anything. Put your hands up and move on with it.
I don't really buy that, to be honest. I don't think anyone is going to for a second believe that. And I do feel like part of making sort of a statement is about clarifying that it wasn't for the ref, because it kind of looks like it's for the ref, even though she's looking somewhere else. And I think anyone who watched the game knew that it wasn't for the ref. But that's the thing, is that's why I worry that maybe there will be consequences. I don't know whether the club suggested she apologise or not, but I don't know. It would be very frustrating if she was to miss a game or something like that over that. I really hope not. Do we want to talk about the next game coming up?
Yeah,
let's talk.
Yep.
Well, I think the word is that we have to win everything of these last 3 games, 2 of which are at home, I believe. So there's going to be, it's City home, Canberra away, and then Western United at home. So yeah, next up, City. They've broken the record for unbeaten string of games. I would love for us to come out and break that, so that they don't get an unbeaten season. It would be, obviously, if we're not going to make finals, that would be the big goal right now, is just try and spoil their party. I mean, they'll win the league anyway. It is what it is. But also, hopefully made very unwelcome is Mariana Snakemeyer, because we tried to keep her, but she went for that sweet, dirty oil city money, sports washing city money. So, how are you feeling, Alex? I assume that you're going to be there.
Yeah, I'll probably be there. I think we'd be pretty lucky to get any sort of result out of this, especially since we haven't been winning too many games lately against top of the table, unbeaten all season. It would sure be awesome to get a result, and then maybe that would kind of spur on the team to do well in the last 2 games to, roll the dice, see if they can get a spot in the top 6. But I probably just can't see us getting anything out of the game. What I saw yesterday would just be made even worse against the City team. I don't think we've got any chance.
Yeah, I mean, City are a tough team, but I think that, if we just get a draw from it, I think that would be pretty funny. Melbourne Victory are hot on their tails. I think a draw would mean, if Victory win in the weekend, they'll be even on points. They'll just go down to goal difference. And so, City will be obviously wanting to win everything and stay top. But I just kind of want to see us spoil their party. And, get some revenge, I think, for stealing Snake Meyer from us. And, showing her that maybe she, I don't know, probably shouldn't have stayed. She's still top of the table, but, we could have really, really used her this season. But, yeah, I'd like to see us, at least is come in fighting and playing right to the final whistle and, get a point, maybe.
Well, we will see. So next week, so that match will be at Porirua Park, Sunday, 4 p.m. New Zealand time. Next week we will be back. We'll chat the 2 All Whites games, and we will chat women versus City and men versus Wanderers. Thanks for joining us. Matua.